White House official said Bitcoin and crypto is going to $20 trillion after passing market structure bill. Right now, the business cycle. Most people are overcomplicating the idea that Bitcoin's traditional 4-year cycle can extend. It's simple. If the business cycle extends, the crypto cycle extends. Bitcoin is a macro asset, and crypto itself is a macro asset. And look at this chart. The bull market has not happened yet. And it has a very, very big reason why. And it's this chart, a major driver behind the business cycle. That is the Fed balance sheet. Right now, quantitative tightening getting ready to come to an end for the first time since all the way back here in September 2019. It is so time to pay attention if you're a macro investor. Right now, for altcoin holders, Bitcoin dominance hitting a very key pullback resistance area. Will that resistance hold? I have no idea, but we're absolutely going to monitor it because we've been waiting for this moment. Hit the subscribe and like on the way in if you're not in our intelligence system with our risk models, our exit planners, our on-chain metrics, our AI that we have back there. Hit the link below in the pinned comment and get set up with a trial. Just go explore all the assets that we have back here. You can confirm if your asset is on here on our website at the bottom of the homepage. But look at this altcoin market cap chart. At the risk level of 18, the price was higher 62% of the time after 3 months and 90% of the time after 1 year. It's actually this very chart, as well as other altcoin risk models, that kind of drove me to post this back in May, if you remember. And I keep bringing this up because I'm very much tracking this right now. Altcoin's officially less risky than Bitcoin. So this was quite some time ago. This was all the way back in May. And you can see the kind of the low risk of altcoins that I was seeing in our intelligence system back then. It's played out. I mean, Bitcoin dominance has made a pullback, right, after this drop, but we're down still from when I posted that video back in May. I'm very interested to see what happens next on this chart. And we're going to talk more about this as it relates to the altcoin market cap chart in this video. But let's start here, everybody. White House official said Bitcoin and crypto going to 20 trillion. I saw somebody commented and they were like, Grok, is this true? So yes, a White House advisor, Bo Hine, stated in July 2025 that comprehensive stablecoin regulations like the Genius Act, which has passed, by the way, could drive the crypto market to $15 to $20 trillion. This aligns with the claim, though it's a projection, not a guarantee. So the Genius Act passed. We're not even talking about Clarity Act. That's going to bring so much. It's just going to unlock so much capital because we're going to get the pro-crypto legislation and really just these guidelines for the space. And there is going to be so much innovation and capital unlocked because of that. All the while, right now, I saw this post from Grayscale, and I basically reposted it. It's Grayscale just out and about. I guess they're marketing their Grayscale CoinDesk Crypto 5 ETF. It's Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, XRP, and Cardano. And I reposted it, and I just said this. Big money's interested as much of retail becomes uninterested. So this plays into the $20 trillion headline. What's compelling is that if you remove Bitcoin and stablecoins, this is only $1 trillion asset class. It's only at $1 trillion, everybody. If you go look at this chart, which I cover heavily, this is $1 trillion. And I think what separates a lot of us, I'm talking about a lot of you, as well as me, from a lot of other people, is if you look at this chart, we could go lower. And we're actually going to talk about this. With this QT coming to an end in just under a month, there's a possibility we just keep consolidating, going lower. But it's the macro. It's the fact that this market cap as a whole, including Bitcoin, has $20 trillion upside, and this chart alone is sitting at $1 trillion. I don't know. I'm a value investor in the space, and that's kind of where I'm coming from in these videos. I'm not a short-term trader. I'm really not even a mid-term trader. So please keep that in mind as we kind of work through this analysis, because this is my approach to these markets. So moving on, though, while all this is happening, Fed may soon need to expand balance sheet for liquidity needs. This is exactly kind of what Ray Dalio was talking about in his post yesterday. I did a pretty in-depth video on that yesterday. But just look at this. This is very interesting as it aligns with what's going on chain. I saw Rob over here, Digital Asset News. He reposted this OG whale chart. It's them selling, right? And it's just like, man, look at all this, right? It's like, but what I noticed was very simple. Go back to 2018. It marked the top, right? Go back to 2021. It marked this first midterm top, and then it marked again the top of the bull market. But then what I noticed is even at that moment falling into the bear market, everything changed, everybody. Now keep this in mind as we pivot and we also start talking about what the Fed is doing. But everything changed. They were selling through the bear market. And for me, it's like there's de-risking going on. But notice this, they were selling at the bottom of the bear market. Was that the top of the bull market? They were selling. No. And then through this whole cycle so far, they've been selling. And I reposted Rob's post. It's just an awesome piece of data that he shared. But I basically said, we bring into play the Fed QT's ending and balance sheet runoff stalling. And what Jerome Powell just said, start seeing reserves gradually growing to keep up with the size of the banking system and economy. That's silent QE. This is playing right into the headline of the day. Fed may soon need to expand balance sheet for liquidity needs. Do you see how the business cycle is playing very heavily into what we see happening here? So basically what I said is I think whales are de-risking and reallocating. That's what I think. And it's been like that for quite some time. It's very clear on this chart. I mean, was the top in right here when Bitcoin was, back here, and I think that's 2024 sometime. Was the top in here? Was the top in at the bottom of the bear market? That's something to think about. And here we are, the business cycle, a slow, just steady. And Julian reposted this. It's because the business cycle has extended, the crypto cycle extends. This is where we are. And so much of the frustration in the markets right now is because of what's happening here. Look at this multi-year just tightening on the Fed balance sheet. Now we're talking and we're getting hints that the opposite is going to start happening. It is now time to pay attention. So I want to take that and I want to pivot into kind of the analysis, Bitcoin dominance charts and altcoin charts. And I just want to say, because I referenced this post that I made, altcoins officially less risky than Bitcoin. I referenced this in May. For me personally, and I think a lot of you are probably the same, if I'm not taking risks, I'm usually not getting better in key areas. If I'm not putting myself out there, I'm usually not getting better in key areas, especially if I'm not putting myself out there because of fear of failure. And what I do is I form my thesis on things and I try to have it so data backed. And that's why I'm always all over the place with just all these different pieces of data on this YouTube channel. But I form the thesis and I go for it. And it's not always 100% win rate. That's okay, as long as I'm managing and balancing my risk. And that's kind of what I've been trying to do on this YouTube channel and really my crypto journey and my approach to these markets. And I'm not just talking about, hey, from bear market lows, right? We've been covering since the bear market, higher highs, higher lows. I'm talking about really, this is something I've been learning how to do. And just, I'm trying to get better since I started the YouTube channel really in 2018. And even before that really. But as we go into the analysis, just please know that this is where I'm coming from. So let's take a look. This is a clip from October 6th, just about a month ago, Bitcoin dominance. Check it. But right now we have the 20-week moving average just approaching the 50-week, a massive move that has not happened since last altcoin season started. So that move is in play, but right now we still have this pullback to those moving averages in play. Maybe there's upside for Bitcoin dominance, a couple, 2-3%. So far, since around a month ago, there's been continued upside. We're there now, and we've been testing it. You can just see. And it's interesting to see in this environment with all of the back and forth, all of the uncertainty, all of the bearishness. Altcoins, though Bitcoin dominance has been up, altcoins have been hanging in there. They really have. Now, the question will Bitcoin dominance see resistance here or not? And there's absolutely zero guarantee that it just gets resistance and starts falling. But what I do want to bring to your attention is this. And this is where the macro importance comes into play for me. QT is about to end. And this is a big data point. I know I keep saying QT. Well, it's very big because liquidity, the business cycle, we see this is a big driver of these cycles. And I've been trying to just bring that point home so much. We can't just look at a weekly oscillator and call bull markets and bear markets. It just doesn't work like that. QT ending December 1st. Last cycle, here's when QT ended September 2019. Bitcoin dominance from that actual moment fell. And then we had a little recovery, but it never really broke that previous high. And then it was actually, boom, there's the bull market. There's altcoin season. Now, keep in mind, Bitcoin did well. Altcoin just outperformed Bitcoin. So the question is, and it's weird because we're kind of in a mix of cycles, right? The question is, like, QT is about to come to an end. Are we going to get a similar move? Like, is Bitcoin dominance going to start falling like it did back then, but then recover? How's it going to play out? One thing that I do know is the driver being just Fed monetary policy and what they're doing is a very big thing to pay attention to. We can't just take a fractal from last cycle and be like, it's going to play out like that, right? So it would be something like boom, boom, boom. It could, right? It could, but we can't just do that. But what we can do is on the shorter to midterm, analyze just the charts, how things are operating, and if we're getting similarities. That's all we can do. We can't sit here and predict. But I will tell you one thing I am anticipating, and I'm anticipating for this cycle, if the liquidity floodgates open, right? And we start seeing the business cycle flip, we start seeing the Fed balance sheet start boom to the upside. And I'm bullish on just normalization, similar to how we had in the bull market back here, post QE normalization, just kind of, sideways there. But if we start going like this, I really do think Bitcoin will do well. I think altcoins will outperform Bitcoin. And so as we evaluate our risk models and I look at the data that's back there, for altcoins versus Bitcoin, that's one thing that my thesis is kind of set in. But now that we have the business cycle and really we're getting a more clear direction of what the Fed is doing and getting ready to do, Ray Dalio, again, my video from yesterday explains all that stuff very in depth. But now we're getting that picture. I think altcoins are going to do very well because look what happened last cycle when QT ends versus Bitcoin. Altcoins did well. And especially with all of the compression, all of the suppression that is on this chart, we have this cycle. I just referenced it. Where is it? It's somewhere. Maybe I don't even have it up anymore, but I just referenced it. There it is, Grayscale. We have Grayscale out there. And there are tons of other ETFs for altcoins. We have Grayscale. Look at the Cardano logo, Solana logo, XRP. Altcoins have been suppressed, and there is a very, very big shift that is happening right now. So listen, maybe there's more downside on this chart. Actually, last time in 2019, QT ended. September 2019, there was a couple more months of downside. And then we started bouncing. Maybe it was going to be a bull market, but then we know what happened in March 2020. But then there was the bull market. I don't know. I don't know when the bull move will happen. I just know on this chart, long term, whether it's just sooner or later, I just think this space has so much growth. So as we evaluate headlines today, we watch price action today, we look at Bitcoin dominance, what it's doing today, I'm preparing. I'm trying to, I really am. And I need to do a warning video because if we get this move and there is maybe, 9 months, right? Or less or more, it is so important to have a plan to take profits if the move happens, because I think there's going to be a massive crash. Now, when the time gets right, I will be talking about that more. I'm just not talking about it right now because I don't think that's what the setup is. So this is why I have the intelligence system. I'm using it. Our members are using it. Go set up. Go get set up back here. And I know I'm shilling, but I am. I'm trying to grow a company here, and I'm trying to grow it with members. But I wouldn't be sitting here selling this platform and building this company if it wasn't something that I think is going to be incredibly valuable. And that is these risk models, everybody. If we see these risk models start going crazy, and this is Bitcoin, right? The green is the risk model in our exit planner. You can set alerts based on when we're hitting certain risks. You can do this with the altcoins that we have back here. They all look different, really. You set your alerts. We just added text alerts. SMS alerts are back there. You can save and enable the alerts. Have a plan right now. So set the risk alerts. You can go back here. You can, if you're like, all right, I'll do risk, but I want to do price speculation as well. Go set your price exits. Get alerts when we're hitting certain prices. Set the plan now. If the move happens, you're not emotional. You're not trying to figure it out. You're not like panicking, running around. Should I do it? Should I not? Just set the plan now and be like, man, this will be a good one. This will be a good exit. This will be a good exit. and use our intelligence system mixed with risk to have a solid plan. So I'm excited to always bring our intelligence system up. I don't do it as much as I probably want to, because I don't want to sit here and I don't want my YouTube channel to become like some big sales commercial. But everybody, this data is huge back here. Look at Bitcoin risk model falling back into the 30s right now. So let's see what happens. I appreciate you watching. Hit the subscribe, hit the like, and again, click that link below, get a free trial. And if you don't like it, simply cancel before the trial's over. So I appreciate you. I'll see you in the next video. God bless.